Ya, bueno, hace mucho tiempo que tengo este juego y la verdad que nunca lo he jugado y quería jugar algo diferente, honestamente. Así que nada, voy a jugar Last Epoch. Aparte ya la versión final sale el 21 de febrero. Ahora, ¿qué voy a elegir? No sé, generalmente elijo mago, pero... eh, podría ser necromancer, o paladín, o guerrero. Eh, no sé qué elegir, la verdad. Honestamente es un poco difícil. ¿Ya? Voy a elegir. Voy a elegir no muerto, ¿ya? Acólito que dice: invoca guerreros esqueléticos arqueros para que te ayuden a poder invocar tres esqueletos. Ataco cuerpo a cuerpo que golpea a todos los enemigos en el área. No. Probablemente Necromancer podría ser, pero no me deja, o sea, me deja partir con Acólito. Quiero ver una cosa, y aquí, esto es genial, ¿ah? Que tengas que subir de nivel varias veces a un personaje para sacar las maestrías. Siempre elijo mago y por eso es que no quiero tal vez elegir mago, honestamente. Ah, yo creo que me voy a ir por Nigromante. Y ya. O sea, no, no, ahí no, es normal, porque si me pongo extremo. Ah, no sé. Igual tengo experiencia en este tipo de juegos, pero vamos a ver.
I am the acolyte. I was raised in the city of Welrin amongst countless books and countless fools. My master was a kind man, but he was as useless as the others. My ambitions took me elsewhere, to the arts forbidden by the elders of the city. I was found out and exiled. They feared my power. I've learned so much in my travels since, but word has come that Welryn has been conquered. I would like to see this with my own eyes.
O sea, no sabía qué jugar, así que como no sabía qué jugar, realmente dije, bueno, voy a jugar esto y veremos, ¿no?
Feel my wrath.
Veamos. En mano de un mensajero caído encuentra una carta con el consejo de los guardianes de esta dirección.
Traveler, our Heoborian allies informed us that you will attend the peace talks. Raya's war has reached our lands, and we are in need of aid. As keepers, we avoid conflict. We're dedicated to the goddess Etera's memory. That is, until Raya forced our hand. He wishes to destroy us and steal Etera's legacy. We can't let that happen. We need Herot's help. Your help.
Entonces, introducción del sistema de habilidades. Ver árboles de especialidades, escribir una habilidad, usar una habilidad nueva, escribir una nueva. Puedes especializarte hasta en 5 habilidades haciendo clic en uno de los huecos de especialidad de arriba que se desbloquean en el sub de nivel. Al especializarte en una habilidad conseguirás puntos de habilidad, ganas experiencia. Que el máximo nivel es 50. ¿En serio? Wow, ok. Justo me llegó el almuerzo y estoy justo comenzando. No tengo puntos de habilidad, supongo, ¿no? No creo. Yo creo que voy a ver una guía mientras tanto, porque tengo que almorzar. Entonces, mientras que almuerzo... Me van a matar. Ok. Pero denme un segundo, voy a pausear un poco esto y voy a ver una guía mientras tanto. Voy a almorzar. Si no leo nada es porque estoy viendo la guía.
Hey, what's up everyone? Hope you're all having a wonderful time. Here a quick guide for the Cold Crit Werebear Druid in Last Epoch. The Cold Crit Werebear Druid is a very strong melee build that's using the Shadow Lance set, which makes it so we gain increased melee cold damage per health region on our character. Shout out to Shasinoma, as I got the inspiration from his version of the build. I'll put a link to him in the description. By being the Primalist class, we can push these numbers by a huge amount, reaching over 3000 health regen per second, and at the same time providing us with almost 4,500% increased melee cold damage. And these numbers are of course with some mid-maxing, but it's pretty insane that can reach more regen than our actual health.
Hello, this is Dread, and in today's video topic, we're going to be talking about Bone Curse Skeleton Necromancer. No uniques at all needed for this build this time around. And why is that? Well, recently, a friend and I were talking about the abysmal state of the current skeleton archetype in Necromancer and how you are required to use uniques to make them start scaling damage in an appropriate manner, like Lich's Scorn, of course, stuff like that. And I was like, there are some ways of making them work. And he was like, prove it to me. So, of course, we decided to have a little bit of a bet. And the terms were I needed to get a actual skeleton build to around 200 corruption, while also only running skeletons and no uniques. Well, it turns out there are ways of doing it, and I found one of them. So let's talk about that today. So the idea is we're utilizing Bone Curse. The way Bone Curse works is we apply it to an enemy, right? So whenever we apply it to an enemy, if that enemy is hit by any hit, right, it will proc another hit that cannot apply ailments or anything like that. That will deal a portion of your damage as physical damage. So like for instance, it right now it does 20% of my added physical or just added damage in general as physical damage. Now, it's tripled for my hits, but for 20% for everything else. Now, normally that doesn't really sound that much, but it turns out you can get a lot of hits in when you're playing a minion build. So like right now, I have 14 different minions, and that means that 14 times 20%, that's about 280% of my damage applied as hits per second, or a little bit more than that because you take into account the attack and cast speed of the minions. Now, that on its own is not enough to make this work, of course. Now, we also grab a node inside Bone Curse that turns it into an aura. Now, the way that this works is whenever you walk over something, it is Bone Curse, meaning that you no longer have to actually self-cast Bone Curse to make enemies get cursed. And this is not only a huge quality of life, it also means that you can grab the nodes behind it that gives Bone Curse even more significant damage. And all of that combined makes this build a very casual friendly build, very AFK friendly build. You kind of just walk through monoliths, you have your skeleton skill stuff for you. You do have to cast Rip Blood here or there, and you have to cast Dreadshade here or there, but the button presses are at an all-time minimum for this kind of build, which I'm really happy with, considering that this build requires no uniques. You can level as this build, as I'll get into later, and you also, of course, require like little to no gear, to be honest, to get started. Now, there's a few things that makes this build pop, so let's talk about a few of them. The biggest thing is the affix on exalted gear you can get on Acolyte. That is, of course, the increased spell damage per skeletal mage. This is very, very strong. So I have it on my helmet and my chest, and I'm getting well over 500% increased spell damage just for having minions. And I'm also running idols. It's giving me about 20 flat necrotic damage because I have minions. And this is really good as just having minions around actually buffing my spells, which of course your bone curse is your spell, so it's dealing your damage, so you need to build your own crit chance, own crit multi, stuff like that. Now there's also another node that we're abusing. We're also abusing Hollow Lich. So there's I think it's Rivers of Bones, I think the node is. It'll pop on screen. This node gives you a lot of critical damage, leeches life, and of course we can turn it into increased damage with Hollow Lich. So not only do we have like a 500% increased spell damage from everything else we also have 200% from Hollow Lich's interaction with River of Bones, and we also have a significant portion from all of our intelligence stacking, meaning that we don't need a single point of increased damage on her gear, meaning we can scale into crit multi, stuff like that. So that saves us a bunch of gearing, which means we can take those affixes and use minion health instead. Now, one of the biggest problems with, of course, using Hollow Lich is we lose all of our sustain, meaning what you need to do, of course, is you need to actually use Rip Blood to heal yourself. Thankfully, since we're stacking intelligence, we get a lot of healing effectiveness on Rip Blood, and it heals me for like half my HP every single time I hit something with it, which is great. Another reason why we're using Rip Blood is there's a node in it now that makes it so that you gain 8 spell flat damage.
Hello travelers, Boardman21 here, and today I finally have the end game Cold Minion Necromancer update for you. And I'm sorry that this one took a really long time, but it took a lot of testing and different ways of building it to really figure out how I was going to give the minions decent survivability in the end game, and then finally defeat tier 4 Julra. Now the problem with the Necromancer skeleton mages, and especially the skeleton archers, is that they have very low survivability, especially when you start scaling up that end game corruption. To offset this, we tried a bunch of things. Minion health regen turned out to just kind of be a joke, especially at higher corruption. They just don't regen enough life, and you're much better off trying to get them to leech as much as possible, which means, especially for the skeleton mages, having as much maximum health is really the only thing that you care about. Now, their survivability can still be weakened against spirals, especially the poison spirals, so if you go into an echo with those, I definitely recommend just leaving. It's not even worth it. One poison spiral at 300 corruption is just going to kill your minions almost instantly, so definitely avoid that. Outside of that, they actually have really good survivability because they are leeching a ton of the damage they do, and thanks to the Lich's Scorn, which has that interaction of giving them flat damage per Infernal Shade when you have the Dread Shade active, it ends up giving them a ton of flat cold damage, so their damage is really good. However, if you let that Dread Shade wear off, which it lasts for 40 seconds in this setup, then it will end up reducing their damage significantly. So it is kind of irritating in battle and sometimes in the middle of echoes that you got to redo the Infernal Shades and then redo the Dread Shade, but it's totally doable. Outside of that, you can go through echoes pretty quick. We also iterated in
Ya, bueno, hay guías bastante complejas y yo la verdad que de este juego no tengo idea. Lo tengo hace mucho tiempo, pero nunca lo había jugado, así que no sé. El problema es que me van a violar. Me van a violar. ¿Qué es esto? Esto es comparar, ¿no? Ok. ¿Cuántos puedo tener? 3.
Feel my wrath.
No puedo agarrar otra poción, ¿no? No. Ajustes gráficos ultra, ¿no? Va a ser un juego largo, ¿eh? O sea, se los digo porque estuve leyendo que es bastante largo. Ahora ya, como dije, está a punto de salir, así que la versión completa, digamos, ¿no? Podría esperar, pero no sé, los cuerpos están tan quemados que... Ok. Pero no creo que cambie mucho, creo que sí ya se puede dar vuelta al juego y pasar a las siguientes tiers, o sea... Creo que se puede, así que...
When you arrived, was there a family? It was my mistake. They were cornered, and there were so many. I can handle Osprix. I told them to stay back, to let me handle it. And they left. What good are we if we can't? Sorry. I just met you, and it's been a long road. Are you also here for the peace talks? I am. Name's Grail. Since we're both headed the same direction, why don't we go together? I wonder, which of us will take down more Osprix? Come, let me watch you fight. As Orion ordered! Smoke! So much destruction. And for what?
¿Qué te está sanando? ¿Qué está,
Mm,
qué está sano?
no 100%.
Yo también.
Feel my wrath. Feel my wrath.
Where'd you learn to fight?
Bueno, el mapa es enorme, man. Es putamente enorme, ni siquiera sé dónde tengo que ir. Me van a matar.
Quick, before it reaches town.
Sin maná. No hay maná.
Well done. We're almost there. I'll see you ahead.
Y esta.
The Keepers have proven difficult to track, but my observations revealed the truth. Their camps are neither chosen nor abandoned on a whim. There's a pattern to how they scurry. I instructed my soldiers to investigate the abandoned camps. Invariably, they're near shrines devoted to the eldest of gods. Each one was as empty as the last, save for meager signs of the Keeper's presence. They're not guarding the ruins. They're traveling between them, over and over. They must be moving with them. It'll be as simple as burning these vermin to ash. Raya wills it. The Keepers have proved. I instructed my soldiers to investigate the abandoned camps. Invariably, they're near shrines.
Herots offered protection. More than protection. An alliance. But the truth is, we know little about him, or his people. Why should the Council trust him? Prospect 2. He cares for his people. Like the goddess herself, he extends his heart to all who need support. He forms alliances, wanting to stand united. Meanwhile, Raya wishes to tear this world asunder. Prospect 3. His people are warriors. Hareborian fighters put ours to shame. We fight because it is necessary, while they relish in it. I'll take on being behind their blade any day. Thus, I propose we accept this alliance. It is not in our nature, but we Keepers have a sacred duty to uphold. Without Heorot's help, our efforts might prove fruitless.
Quiero ver una cosa solamente. O sea, tienes un personaje...
I wonder if any of Welrun's elders remember me. They'll realize exiling me was a mistake.
Feel my wrath.
Traveler, as Keeper wishes to destroy us and steal Atera's legacy. We can't let that happen. We need Herod's help. Your help.
Feel my wrath.
As Orion ordered!
Ok. Yo prefiero jugar así nomás, o sea, no online, porque la verdad no... ¿Qué es esto? El monolito. Cubo de cristales ferrados, 5 probabilidades de bloquear, eficiencia de bloquear. Lo que pasa es que yo no voy a jugar con nadie, entonces al final es como que...
When you arrived, was there a family? It was my book. I can handle what... Are you all good? Name's Grail. No one come. Let me watch
Pero
you
me va a
fight.
saltar toda esta parte del inicio que ya la habíamos hecho. Eso, pero no es como, o sea, es como Diablo, claro. Pero claro, puedes elegir entre jugar offline o online. Yo la verdad, como dije, no es que tenga servidores masivos de gente. Según yo no lo tiene. Y eso. Supongo que podré igual tradear con personajes o personas, digamos. Porque me tienen un sistema de tradeo, pero no estoy seguro, la verdad. Puedo estar equivocado también, no sé. Ahora, lo malo es que creo que no se puede... Ah, no, sí se... Creo que sí se puede,
So much destruction. And for what? Where'd you learn to fight?
Feel my wrath.
¿Qué es esto?
Charge! Now! Charge! Charge!
Ahora yo no sé qué tienen planeado, porque están dividiendo, digamos, un personaje offline a un personaje online, no tengo idea. Porque como no tienen un servicio, digamos, no sé, con más personas, o sea, como que no es un mundo, no sé, siento que tal vez ni siquiera sirve tanto dividir entre online y offline, honestamente. Porque no es que todos los jugadores estén en un servidor, ¿no? Sí, no sé, la verdad.
Impossible. Impossible.
They're not guarding the ruins. They're traveling between them, over and over.
Esto ya lo habíamos escuchado.
Herots of prospect. Thus, I propose we accept this alliance. It is.
Sounds like their leaders waiting up at the shrine. The keepers have done well. This place isn't too different from home. A group tied closely with our goddess, Etera. They've been indebted to her. But why, we do not know. Even their name is... Well, what do they keep? Do they adhere to another god or just her? It's these mysteries that interest the Osprix. Whatever secrets the keepers hold, I'm sure Raye wants them. Now, we speak to the Keeper Council. Speaking of, I must head there now. Feel free to look around. I'll see you shortly.
O sea, hay gente que está hablando aquí, o sea, definitivamente. Ajustes. ¿Se puede ajustar el chat? Bueno.
Thank you, Tara.
Entonces... tenemos que hablar con los guardianes, pero por ahora... quiero revisar acá un poco qué es lo que hay. Lo voy a jugar como un modo historia y ya. Eso es lo que voy a hacer. Y veremos. Lo siento, tenemos órdenes de no dejar entrar ni salir a nadie. Se ha visto. Ok, no hay nada que ver ahí. Pero el mapa es bastante grande. Fíjense el tamaño. No sé cómo se divide. Todavía soy un noob en esto, honestamente. En este juego, por lo menos. Voy a tener que ver varias guías, yo creo. Pero no tengo idea. Dice, entre los jardines, atraviesa... A ver, déjenme hablar con ellos porque me estoy saltando un poco. Vamos a hablar con este tipo.
Do you need anything? Guards? I suppose you're fine without. Sorry. I've got a lot on my mind. We're not used to attacks like this. Normally, we're left alone. Worst enemy's nature. Wolves, quill hogs, whatever a terror throws at us. But people? Wars? We're not equipped for this. We exist to preserve history, protect a terror's past. Until now, we were ignored. I don't know why that's changed. Indeed. It hasn't been that way for us. Even amongst our council, we're equals. It's just Balthus and I. He doesn't know when to stop. I'm afraid he'll get hurt. I swear, he's prepared his whole life for this. He knows our scripture better than anyone, but he disregards it so easily. History is not observed, it is made. Balthus is our best and brightest. He's also quickest to act. I just hope it doesn't hurt him. Thanks. I hate it. Hate that we must rely on allies. No offense. We value tradition. We're not fighters. We're protectors. It's always been that way. I am. No matter our numbers, I always will. Anyway, I've talked enough. Let's not keep Balthus waiting.
Veamos. Tenemos esto. Supongo que se podrá... se podrá rerolear, supongo, pues, ¿no?
Feel my wrath.
Ahora el mapa se ve muy poco, la verdad.
Feel my wrath.
Es curioso que te digan que es offline, ¿no? Y que puedas ver gente hablar. Es como muy raro esa weá. Digo yo, no sé. Gente real, digamos, ¿no? Por eso digo que tal vez, aunque sea un personaje offline, tal vez pueda acceder al mercado igual. Yo supongo que sería lo más lógico, ¿no? Ok. Me están violando.
Feel my wrath.
Ahora probablemente nada de esto me sirve. Veamos.
Feel my wrath.
Yo creo que los voy a juntar solo para juntar plata, porque al final me podrían servir como para eso. O sea... Se me olvida de que yo estoy donde, Jardín de la Fortaleza. Estoy acá, este mapa es enorme. Veamos. Se me da por presionar el M como porque quiero ver el mapa, pero no puedo hacerlo, así que... Pero está bueno, me gustó, la verdad. ¿Qué votó? A ver, control. Uno más de movimiento. Resistencia físicamente, cuerpo a cuerpo, velocidad de ataque. Y esto es lanza corta. Esta es legendaria, ¿no? Pareciese, ¿no? Ahora, potencial de la forja 0. Potencial de la forja 21, 20, 14, 16. Todavía tengo que aprender, como dije. Hay muchas cosas que no tengo ya. Ver materiales. Démosle. Va a ser una serie larga, yo supongo, porque como es la historia es larga de por sí. A ver, un segundo. Quiero ver una cosa. Un segundito. Veamos.
Feel my wrath.
Oh. A ver, tengo mucha mierda y la verdad que claro, vale oro, pero... y este que decía, bueno, pero este dice multiplicador de velocidad de ataque cuerpo a cuerpo, cuerpo por daño, hechizo demasiado. Potencial de forja es un recurso útil para fabricar un objeto en la forja, pulsar F. No sé qué es eso tampoco. Menos 2 de vida, pero aflicciones bloqueadas. Y esto. Menos 2 de... y esto, no. Veamos.
As Orion ordered! Charge!
A ver, veamos. Madre santa, se cerró el juego, puta madre. Espero que se haya guardado porque... no quiero estar pasando de nuevo. Ojalá que no... se cerró de nuevo, puta madre. ¿En serio de nuevo todo? Me estás jodiendo, André.
Terra's blessing.
Right.
O sea, puede que se cerró el juego, pero bueno, vamos a ver. Te amo.
Júralo.
Te lo juro.
Por mí. Júralo por mí, si no me muero. Júralo por mí, si no me muero ahora.
Te amo, lo juro por ti.
Ay, no se murió.
Si te quieres morir, ya está todo bien. Amor, me siento mal, me estás pasando más COVID.
No, yo estoy más sola que tú. Si yo no he tenido COVID, ¿no? Yo lo que he tenido es una gripe fuerte.
Ya, bueno. Ella.
Si no, me voy a recuperar tan rápido. Yo estaría hasta
No
ahora.
está recuperada todavía.
No, sí, pero ahora tengo solo protección nada más, pero si yo le hubiera dado COVID como aquí estaría tiradas ahora.
Esa fue la intervención de las pastillas.
Pero igual con pastillas estaría tirada, pues.
No.
Si tiene un proceso de 2 semanas,
Ya, amor, no te diste cuenta ahora mismo, haz lo que quieras. No me voy a discutir. No tiene sentido. Ya, mi amor, me voy a la cabeza, en serio.
¿qué cosa es eso?
Sí, me voy a la cabeza, no.
No te molestes.
No está bien que lo hagas, pero no cada 3 segundos, pues. Estoy tranquilo, amor. Si no me quedas hasta más tarde jugando,
¿Cuándo te he dicho algo?
No, pues, pero es que no me siento muy bien y yo te lo dije y estoy tratando de no pensar. Invoca un árbol ilusorio que distrae a tus enemigos durante 8 segundos. Presiona A para darle a tu desfierro una orden de ataque.
Feel my wrath. It eludes me. It eludes me. That is too much. That is too much.
As Orion ordered!
Feel my wrath.
It ends here!
Feel my wrath.
As Orion ordered! It ends here!
Once I deciphered the Keeper's movements, the vaults were easy to find. Exploring them proved more challenging. Ancient stonework that could inspire even the greatest of Solarum's architects. Nearly impenetrable. Between my and what would be the purpose of such a stronghold if it were to house nothing? Yet I could tell they were here, just as I predicted. They were guarding something of immense importance, something powerful. Raya will be pleased. This way! You're here to help! The Osprix, they protect the sword! The Drake! Tread carefully.
Feel my wrath.
Note here. It isn't safe. We'll reconvene outside.
That is too much.
No sé si jugar esto o no, la verdad. O sea, hay muchos objetos que han caído y hay muchas cosas que tengo que entender, o sea, honestamente. Pero no tengo idea, o sea, estoy tomando los objetos que creo que son buenos, pero... Como dije, van a caer muchos objetos, o sea...
That should hold them. First things first, thank you. The Osprix grow more troublesome by the day.
Pero ninguno de estos tiene potencial de legendario, solamente esto nada más.
We've reinforced our walls, supplied our men and taken out dozens of them. Yet, they're still here, using brute force now. The howling monster circling the vault. Yes. So, I see you lack keeper's robes. I take it Lena sent you. Lovely. While your help has been appreciated, I have everything under control. What do you mean? I'm protecting the Epoch, of course. Here, it's a fortress, meant to keep unruly treasure hunters from locating the shards of the Epoch. Or at least it's supposed to. Drastic times. Did Lena not tell you? Well, tell you what. Let's get out of here first, and then I'll explain more. These peace talks are hardly worth it if you don't know why Orion is after us.
Entonces, no entendí porque me marca...
That is too much.
Probablemente esto vale 500 de oro. No sé si valga la pena tener... ¿Qué es lo que marca el escudo? O la hacha.
That is too much.
No tengo idea. Probablemente sea el otro objeto legendario que cayó, ¿no? Ni idea.
Since the Keepers formed, we've held the same rituals, instructed to keep the Epoch shard separate. Those were Itera's words. The first Epoch shard is held in a fortress. Ancient Iteran mechanisms hold it in place, with no one but us knowing how to enter. The second vault is deep inside the Stonefall Mountains, with traps that only the Keepers know how to maneuver. The third shard is always on the move. It uses multiple vaults. Only we possess the knowledge to open them. This is why we never call a single place home.
Entonces lo dejo hasta acá, ya los veo.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, and today I will be going over everything you need to know about Last Epoch with my ultimate new player guide. We're going to be covering everything from characters to pick, stats, crafting, leveling, and even touching on a bit of the end game. Buckle up and let's begin. Before we jump on in though, this video is a very long one, so there will be timestamps for you to follow. There's a lot of good information here, and I really hope this helps you out. Now, starting this thing off strong, you're going to be starting Last Epoch off with possibly the hardest decision to make, and that is what class should you choose. Obviously, the answer is going to be based on what you value in a game like this, but I will do my best to break out each class on a surface level to make the decision a bit easier. Each character has a base class that you start with, and depending on the mastery you choose, you can change how the character functions. Masteries change the way each character plays quite drastically, and once you make the decision, this change is permanent. Now, should you want to play another mastery, you would have to create an entirely new character, but fear not, I will break down each class and their masteries. The Sentinel is a strong and versatile warrior that utilizes a mix of fast and powerful melee skills. The Sentinel also has innate skills built around abilities like the Shield Bash ability, and if you're a fan of the sword and board playstyle, the Sentinel is perfect for you. The Void Knight mastery for the Sentinel unleashes the Void within, utilizing powerful Void skills like Erasing Strike and Void Cleave to decimate your foes. The Void Knight can manipulate time itself, echoing skills and reversing time. More aggressive players will generally like this style, and the huge damage numbers you pull off with this class will satisfy that aggression. The Forge Guard mastery for the Sentinel is a tanky weapon summoner who uses his body as a weapon, utilizing Retribution, a counterattack style attribute, and summons an arsenal of weapons like magical swords as companions, shield walls, and even an armor companion that uses your gear stats for power. Finally, the Paladin Mastery is the ultimate holy warrior that utilizes healing spells, auras that can buff damage and defense, fire spells like Smite that call down beams of holy light, and powerful melee spells that pass judgment on your foes. The Rogue is a highly mobile and versatile character class that excels at dealing damage from a distance, avoiding enemy attacks, and adapting to various combat situations. If you value a dexterous playstyle, the Rogue could be for you. The Blade Dancer Mastery enhances the melee aspect of the rogue, making her a deadly assassin that attacks from all sides. Shadow Clones and Lethal Mirages are some of the skills to expect from this mastery. The Marksman Mastery enhances the range aspect of the rogue, making the class a menace from a distance. If you favor elemental arrows, multiple mirage arrows, or the classic rain of arrows playstyle, then the marksman is for you. The mage is a user of the arcane arts and utilizes an arsenal of powerful magic, ranging from lightning blasts, elemental novas of your choosing, powerful disintegration beams, and even walls of ice. The mage may be for you if you favor a magical focused playstyle. The Sorcerer Mastery pushes the envelope for granting the mage more power than ever before. Unleash meteors from the heavens, ice storms that devastate your foes, and even achieve new forms, further enhancing your arcane prowess. The Spellblade Mastery adds a twist to the mage class style, increasing the mage's power, not by just giving him more magic, but also making the class a more versatile melee-focused fighter. Imbue your melee attacks with magic, rush in with the power of lightning, and shatter your foes with icy strikes. The Primalist is a class that utilizes a mixture of totems, companions, nature elements, and savage strikes, and is perfect for those of you who want to get in touch with your inner beast. The Beastmaster is a mastery focused around the power of his animal companions to not only destroy his enemies, but give the Beastmaster more power himself. Raptors, saber-toothed tigers, and bears are some of the companions at your disposal. If you value taking command of mighty beasts, then the Beastmaster is for you. The Shaman Mastery focuses on the earth and nature elements. Storms and earthquakes are at your fingertips, and unleash the power of winter with skills like Avalanche. Mastery of nature is what you will find with the Shaman. Finally, the Druid Mastery is a master of shape-shifting. Rather than commanding animals, unleash the animal within with forms like the tanky and powerful Werebear. The Spriggan form lets you control the power of nature and vine to subdue and poison your enemies. And with the Swarm Blade transformation, transform into a melee menace with sharp blades and agile movements. The Acolyte is a dark mage that uses the power of undead minions, necrotic magic, and plague spirits to do her bidding. If you value the dark arts, the Acolyte may be for you. I hope the information about each class and mastery was a good starting point in helping you pick a class. Again, this is more on a surface level, but keep in mind, should you like to look more in depth at each class, you can easily create the character you think about playing and jump into the game. And by pressing the P key, you can look at each passive associated with each class, and you can press the S key to look at all the skills, and by double clicking you can look at how the skills evolve and transform as you level them up. For the next section of this video, we'll be jumping in and going over a few functions that is core to Last Epoch. Whether you're new to the genre or the game, there should be tons of good information here for you. Now once you've selected your difficulty and entered the game, your journey begins and you will be greeted with a host of things that will affect your gameplay, and the first thing I want to cover are items. Normal items are color-coded white, and they are typically the most basic of items. They will only have an implicit and nothing beyond this in terms of affixes. Magic items are color-coded blue and typically comes with 1 or 2 affixes, and rare items are color-coded yellow and typically drop with 3 or more affixes. One thing to note on these items is they all come with a stat called Forging Potential, identified by the number here, and this represents how much any given item can be crafted upon. This number will vary, and depending on the level and rarity of the item, it can dictate how much forging potential an item can drop with. Runes, glyphs, and affix shards are crafting currencies that can use forging potential to craft on your items. Affix shards can add or upgrade items with affixes. Runes can do powerful things like remove affixes from an item, and glyphs can help with cost management on forging of items. We'll be talking about these a little bit more in depth in the crafting section of this video. Unique items are items that, like their namesake, has a unique effect on them. These effects can completely change how skills work or even give massive bonuses that non-unique items can't provide. Set items are items that come with a set of affixes that get stronger as you equip more items within that set family. Idols are dropped items that has a base effect that can be placed in your idol slot in the top right that has varying stat effects and comes in varying shapes and sizes. You can unlock more idol slots by progressing through the story and completing side and main quests to unlock these. There are other powerful items in the game not mentioned here, but these items and stats are unlikely to be something a new player will see, and we'll be covering that in our more advanced guide. Next, it's time to cover stats, skills, and passives in Last Epoch. When it comes to passive points, you gain a passive point every time you level up, or complete a side quest in which rewards a passive point. These passive skills can be used to improve your character, but depending on your playstyle, it will dictate what passive you should take. Starting off, you will only be able to level your class's base passive tree upon completing Chapter 4 and allocating 20 points. Only then can you allocate passives to your mastery. As you add more passives to your passive tree, you unlock the skills at the bottom, and eventually you will be able to get all skills in each passive tree within your mastery. Now, I know the tree can be a bit overwhelming, and you may feel like you will make mistakes, and honestly, you very likely will. Fortunately, last Epoch lets you respec with very little hassle.
Let me ask,
the vendor that appears
for how
as a
long
brain
must
on the
we
map.
live like this?
Usually it's in most
No
major
one
hubs
cared about
and
the
began
shards until
respecting.
recently.
The only cost is
Until
gold, and from
Riot.
personal experience,
For
I've
now
never
it's
felt
just
even
him.
remotely close
But
to
how
being out
much
of gold
longer
and
until
having trouble
Lagan
with
seeks them
respecting,
out?
and I couldn't
But just-
imagine you having an issue either. Similarly to leveling up, you can level up
We
skills
uphold
once you unlock
customs,
skill slots.
as it are our
You
will.
unlock said skill
But
slot
our
starting
goddess
at
is
level 4,
gone.
and the final
If
skill
she knew
slot
the
at
state
level
of the
50.
world,
Now,
would
just
she
like
not
the
request
passive,
us to
I can't
act,
tell you what to invest
to
in,
bring
as
peace
it will
back
be
between
dependent
her
on
children?
your playstyle, but nonetheless,
We
you'll be
cannot
able to
keep the
reset
old
skills
ways.
should you make
The
mistakes.
council is
You can
scared,
do this by
but
simply
nothing will
selecting respec
change
in the top right
if
corner of the
we
skill menu.
do not
Keep
change.
in mind, doing so will lose you levels in the skill, but
That
fear
is
not,
too
simply
much.
using that
That
skill and
is
leveling
too-
it up
that is
again
too
will get you
much.
that XP back and the skill points once again to spend for your build. Now, should you want to completely swap out a skill, you can do so, but this will set the skill to a base skill level, which in turn usually means you'll have to level up the new skill a bit to catch up to the previously replaced skill. Fortunately, as you level up, you get a baseline level for all skills, and this will scale based on the level of your character. For the stats section of this video, I will be logging into my character to show you some important things that I think needs further explanation. Okay everybody, we are on my character now. This is the part where I explain some things about the stats. So we're going to go over to our stats section by pressing C. And first off, let's talk about these stats on the left side: strength, dex, int, attunement, and vitality. Now each of these stats have a static design behind them. For example, every point of strength will increase your armor by 4%. But as you can see, the second line says, and improve skills that rely on raw strength to you and your companions. So essentially what this means is it will scale certain skills, and to figure out how skills scale, you'll have to look down here at the bottom or in the skill tree itself, and you can hover over it and it'll show you how skills scale. So for example, judgment scales off of fire, spell, melee, damage over time, area, strength, and attunement. So in the event that I wanted to maybe level up attunement because I wanted some mana, this could in theory scale my damage. Now quickly we're going to go over each of what these do and then cover
I'm
a few
sure you
other
have
things.
questions, but
So
let me
strength,
first
as I
check and
mentioned
make sure
before,
the
will
Epoch's
increase
safe.
armor by 4%. Dexterity will
Who do the
increase dodge
keepers
rating.
adhere to? Our slumbering
Intelligence will
mother,
increase your
Eterra.
ward retention,
Alone,
which we're going to go over in a
a
second.
goddess they cannot
Attunement
see.
will grant you mana, and then
They
vitality
send
will
no
grant
treasure
you
to
10
see
health
for
and 2%
Lagan,
increased
nor
health
works
regen.
of art
So
south
next, let
to
me bring your
Majasa.
attention to the resistances, and if you're new
How
to
can they
the
claim
genre
a
or this
greater
kind of game,
connection to
resistances
Eterra than
reduce
us?
the damage you take
We're
from
the
these
servants of
element
Raya,
or,
the inheritor of her domain.
whatever the effect type is.
It is
so if I'm hit
blasphemy.
with a fire spell, I
They
will take
will
75%
burn.
less damage from said fire skill. Comparatively, if I was hit by a void skill, I will take 29% less damage. Obviously, the higher the resistance, the less damage you're going to take, and that's pretty much ideal. This is a hardcore character. I am level 25, so I still have a lot to go. But generally, you want to be, if you're a hardcore player, I would recommend you have 50 in each resistance across the board by the time you get to about this level. Void is fine, like I think this is the fine number for Void, but the rest of these skills should be about 50% or more. One thing to make a mental note of when it comes to resistances, some gear grants all resistances. So you can see my chest has 14% elemental resistance. So just so we're clear, elemental resistance covers fire, lightning, and cold. Physical poison, necrotic, and void does not is not covered under elemental resistance, but these three are. So just make sure you know that. Now the last thing I wanted to cover are two stats called ward and endurance. Now ward is a essentially an energy shield or a barrier. It's kind of like a separate health bar to some extent. The difference is it will drain very, very rapidly, and in order to stop it from draining as quickly, you need a stat called ward retention. As you can see here, I have 4% ward retention, and I have 34 ward. The reason why I have ward is because this item, and you'll find many items in the game that will give you passive ward bonuses. Typically you'll find this on like mage classes, so it's easier to get. Now as you can see, the gloves do give me 14 ward per second, but as you can see, I'm not going over 33, and the reason for that is because of ward retention. In order to stop it from draining as quickly is by having ward retention. Now the way I got ward retention was from one of my idols, but like I said, some classes are more suited towards ward, and this will be easier to get if you're maybe like a mage focused class. I don't think ward is that good for my character, but again, this may fit good for you. Now endurance is another one of those stats I want to talk about, and the basic design behind endurance is once you reach this threshold in health, the percent that you see will be the damage reduction that you can take. So for example, I have a total of 188 endurance threshold with 28% endurance. So what basically happens is once my health hits 188, I will take 28% less damage. So let's say for example, I do have 400 endurance threshold and I have 60% endurance. 60% endurance is the cap. So again, only once you hit 400 health, with my example, I will again take 60% less damage from any attacks. Now, it is very imperative, in my opinion, that especially if you're like a space class and you're not using ward, I think most classes want to use endurance, but if you can, it'd be best to get your endurance up as high as possible and your endurance threshold as high as possible.
Everything okay?
Without sacrificing too many stats. Essentially, that's the core design behind these two systems.
That must be
I want to make sure you
Orion.
guys
If he
understand
captured
how they
Balthus,
work. Should you have any more questions
he's
about
in
these two
danger.
things, because
An
I
Osprey's
may not have
general.
explained it as well as I could
He's
have.
the one
I feel like
leading
I
us.
did, but leave me a comment down below.
What
and
happened
I
to
could
the
maybe
artifacts
get a little bit
Balthus was
more in depth
protecting?
about it.
That must be
Before
what they
we
were
continue,
after.
if you're considering purchasing
We
Last
have to
Epoch,
save
down
Balthus.
in the description
Get
I will
him
have a
and the
link to
Epoch
my
back.
personal Nexus store with Last
Their camp
Epoch
is not far.
available for purchase.
I'll have to organize a
It costs
group.
you nothing
Go
extra
after
to
him.
purchase it from my store, and I get a small kickback should you place an order. Now, if you already bought the
Are you
game,
sure?
do consider subscribing.
I could gather
and joining
soldiers.
The Discord,
Have them come
as
with
it
you.
is the best way to support me as a content creator.
You'll walk into an
All right, let's
entire
get back to
army
the
of
video.
Ospreys.
All right, guys. Now, at this point, you're probably questing,
Stay
and I'm not
safe.
going to really talk about
Stay
anything when
alive.
it comes to questing,
And bring
because I believe you
Balthus
guys
back.
are competent enough to follow a quest line. The map can be a little bit wonky at times, but you'll get used to it. The next section of this video will be focused on crafting, and just like in my stat section, I'm going to be doing some live examples. Alright guys, this is the crafting section of the video. We're going to go to the forge and I'm going to give you guys a bit of insight. It's going to be more on a surface level, so don't expect anything like super advanced. We'll reserve that for like a different video because I want to make sure I cover everything. But I'm going to just give you at least a surface level explanation of crafting. On the map you will see an anvil. This represents the forge, or you can press F to pull up the forge. So this is the forge. And I have a couple items that have some pretty solid forging potential. Let's start off with this wand. So as you can see, this item has 22 forging potential. And what this means is, as you forge an item with whatever modifier you do it with, it has a chance, for example, this elemental damage upgrade has a chance to lose 1 to 10 forging potential, okay? So this could lose 1, this could lose 10. Obviously, you want to lose 1 if you can, and this will help give you more options.
Ya no sé, voy a buscar qué grabar porque la verdad que este juego es demasiado complejo y no tengo tanto tiempo como para meterme en un juego tan complejo, la verdad, o sea, no en este momento. Así que